So we know this stuff here, and this is the interesting thing. Are we our functions? Well, yes, in a way. That's how we express ourselves. We are what we do in many ways. Are we our abilities? Well, certainly. You know, if you were to look at me and go, okay, he's someone who's exercised. He must weigh a certain amount. He must be someone who could do this or that, right? So we have that physical expectation. We've got a mental expectation as someone, you know, that you're interacting, that they know how to read, that they know how to write, that they can express themselves. We know that social pillar is active. We know all these other things about them in terms of their motivation. We can see that they've gone off and done these wonderful things in their lives. We know their context because in some ways it's very similar to our own, but it's not exactly the same because the culture of each individual could be a little bit different based on their family, based on what they've chosen to do as work, as a profession, as who they have chosen to have in their lives, as very close people like their spouse and how they're interacting with their children, if they have children. And if they don't, obviously everyone, it's completely up to the individual, and that's going to change their situation, their context. Now, in the model, there's a kind of a funny little shape that fits right in there, right in the middle of the model. It's as if it's floating underneath this three-dimensional table. Now, I am calling that the self, but you can consider that the rest of you, and you can expand that beyond there, but this is just where I put this here. We aren't solely what we do. We aren't solely our functions, the things that we do. We aren't solely our abilities. We aren't just products of our context. We are individuals, unique and wonderful in our own respects. This thing here could, some could call it the soul, the spirit, the self. Whatever you choose, the way you want to think about this is that all of these things you're doing are for your, perhaps to bring you closer to this understanding of this. Your core self is just something that's outside there. And so for me, it doesn't matter your necessary, what you believe in terms of religion or no religion, or how much awareness that you're applying to your life. We're kind of bringing all these things together. Your connection to the world happens through these heartstrings between people. Your connection happens by the things that you do, your abilities, your context, but truly the essence of you still exists somewhat outside of all these things. So I just wanted to expand this idea in the model so that people would not think, okay, this is all there is. It certainly is not all there is. And in fact, as we go through this more, we're going to start to see how that idea of survival, functional, optimal solutions, and as well how we are exploring our own priorities, how that's going to enhance all those things that we do when we interact with our core self. As you explore these things, you're going to get much better understanding of this. And so that's really what we're talking about here today. So we're going to go on now and put this whole thing together and then start to explore how that fits with the rest of our lives.